Wall, wall, wall. What do we have here? Wait! Please check out the RedManaMadness eBay store for all your MTG needs. Hello, Mamster. Welcome to episode 3 of Building the 32 series. In the first episode, we had mono red, and then we added Bant, that is green, white, and blue, to make Ink Treader for the second episode. So I was thinking, as much as it pains me to say this, why not remove red this time so that we have Bant only? So yes, our commander for the Colors of Bant is Arcadis the Strategist from Magic's Core Set 2019.
I like big butts, and I cannot lie.
This deck is one of my oldest decks that is very special to me since it revolves around defenders. I was trying to be private with this, but since I am active in social media, I believe many of you know already. My last name is Sangalang, and in my native language it means protection, or more importantly, defense. With that, I have a personal connection with this deck, and it will never ever be torn apart unlike the other decks I've built in the past. Now, before I start, I have a few things to announce. You may have noticed that I mentioned what set Arcadis came from. Throughout the Building the 32 series, I will build only one commander deck from each set, and that is including secret layer drops, because I like to make my life harder. I know that some commanders get reprinted, so I will only count the set which they debuted from. From now on, I will be using Moxfield instead of Architect. RedManaMadness is not sponsored by any of the said sites. I just prefer Moxfield due to its tagging features, which made my deck building much easier. I believe Architect has its own tagging feature, but I just find Moxfield more convenient. Did you know that more than 90% of y'all are not subscribed yet? Please do hit that subscribe button because it helps us make more videos in the long run. Arcadis is a 3/5 legendary Elder Dragon for 1 generic, green, white, and blue mana with flying, vigilance, and abilities that read, whenever a creature with defender enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card, and each creature you control with defender assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power and can attack as though it didn't have defender. Now, the win condition for this deck is very straightforward. We just play a bunch of walls and swing in for the win. What's better is that every time we play a wall, it just replaces itself so that we don't run out of gas in the long run. So I'm playing 25 walls in this deck, and that's it really. But here's the thing though, I find it really challenging building decks like this because you need to put a lot of, in this case, walls in the deck while you're considering other aspects in a good commander deck. But looking at Aragorn, a deck of mine which I consider my best deck in my collection, I asked myself, what made it good? And I realized that there was a lot of versatility and overlapping in that deck. There were cards that can be removal in one situation or card draw in another. Applying that logic in this deck, and I prioritized defenders with other purposes like Axebane Guardian, Overgrown Battlement, and Sylvan Carotid. These are defenders that doubles as ramp. Then defenders like Walls of Blossoms and Omens acts as card draw, while Resolute Watchdog and Jeskai Barricade can protect Arcades. These overlaps, I repeat with emphasis, overlaps, are the difference between a good deck and a bad deck in EDH. As for the rest of the walls in this deck, I went for walls that has evasion, making them harder to block or interact with. This deck has a massive weakness. Once Arcadis is gone, you're just left with a bunch of defenders that don't do anything, except to block of course. To reinforce that, I've put High Alert in the deck to act as a second Arcadis, although this does not draw us cards, but it can make our walls attack. I've also put Assault Formation, Baldin, and Bedrock Tortoise. Hi Anthony, remember this guy? Bedrock Tortoise in the deck, but I do admit they're not as good as High Alert, but it makes us very scary if Arcadis is in the command zone. We really need to protect Arcadis once he is on the battlefield, so I have 2 pairs of truce for him, some blink spells cause the easiest way of avoiding targeted spell is to blink the thing being targeted, and finally some good old T-Pro and Heroic Intervention. We have blue, so I'm running 4 counter spells into the deck. Pesky Permanents on your opponent's side. I have 6 targeted removals and 2 one-sided board wipes. We're casting a bunch of creature spells, so Chulane is an essential piece for this deck. I've also put Guardian Project to give us more card draw. Shout out to my buddy Sam for supplying me this very fancy version of Guardian Project. Speaking of card draw, what's better than drawing one card? Drawing two cards! My favorite card in Commander makes an appearance again. There might come a time where we'll be unlucky and whiff from all our draws, so I decided to put Augur of Autumn and Case of the Locked Hothouse so that we can extend our card advantage from our hand to the top of our deck. Tetsuko is also a great add here since it will make our big walls unblockable cause they really are powered 1 or less even though our walls are swinging in for a bunch of damage. Attacking can leave our creatures tapped and make us attractive to attack, so I also put Brave the Sands to give our walls vigilance. Finally, can I just mention how Last March of the Ants is an absolute powerhouse and game finisher for this deck? If you have Pride of Hulkade on the field, you don't even have to activate its ability. What's worse is that Last March is not even my only finisher. I'm running 34 lands in this deck. 3 of it are fetches for our basic planes, a bunch of dual land variants, and for the utility lands, I have Reliquary Tower cause we draw a bunch of cards and I'd like to keep them all throughout the game. Boseju and Otawara for another option of removal, and Yavimaya Cradle of Growth. I never saw the point of adding it until I saw Traproot Kami. Can you imagine how big it can get? Like Imudane, this deck is fairly straightforward. Just play a bunch of walls and turn them sideways and go for the win. To support that win condition, we just play cards that can draw us a bunch of cards or cheat in lands and or creatures into play. Nothing special to be honest. Building Arcadis is very easy, just put a bunch of defenders in your deck. However, I would suggest having defenders that have other uses or has evasions rather than having creatures with big butts. Then for the rest of the deck, it's up to you whether you want to reinforce your win condition, run interactions, boost your card draw, or run a good ratio of all. Well, that's the deck. We can finally add Arcadis in the banned slot of our list. Aragorn and Imodane meets another friend there. We are 3 down, 29 to go. I have put the decklist link in the description below for you to check out. I hope you liked this video. If so, please do leave a thumbs up and tell me what you thought of the deck. Did I miss any good cards? Let me know. Also, subscribe and hit the notification bell to be up to date of our videos. If you're missing any cards, visit our eBay page to order them. That is all from me, ma'am sir.
Bye, have a great time.
What?
Hey Dennis, what you doing?
Editing this building the 32 video I did.
Oh, okay, who?
Oh, Arcades.
Arcades? Where's my favourite colour?
What do you mean?
Black. You haven't done anything in black yet.
Oh, okay, I can do the next episode on black if you want to.
You can? Okay, well then do it then. Who you got?